Admiral Voss of the Galactic Confederation leaned forward in his command chair, mandibles clicking nervously as the strange vessel approached. It was unlike anything their scanners had catalogued before, sleek, predatory, with odd protrusions that defied conventional spacefaring logic. "Origin confirmed, Admiral," his second-in-command reported. "It's from Earth." A ripple of unease passed through the bridge crew. Earth. The infamous blue planet that had remained stubbornly silent since first contact 50 cycles ago. The primitives had accepted the Confederation's communication technology, but had never sent a response. Not a single diplomat or envoy. Some council members had begun suggesting Earth might be uninhabited, its signals merely automated responses. They couldn't have been more wrong. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced, surprise evident in her voice. "On screen," Voss ordered. The view screen flickered to life, and Voss instinctively recoiled. The creature that appeared wore what seemed to be an artificial exoskeleton, black, gleaming, with sharp angles that mimicked the vessel itself. Its face was eerily smooth, with only 2 eyes instead of the standard 4 or 6 of most sentient species. It smiled, revealing flat teeth with peculiar pointed canines. "Admiral Voss," the creature said in perfect galactic standard. "I am James Walker, representative of Earth. We understand you've been trying to reach us." Voss straightened his posture. "For 50 cycles, yes. Your world has ignored every diplomatic overture." The human's smile widened slightly. "Not ignored, Admiral. Observed, learned, prepared." "Prepared for what exactly?" "For this meeting. For your trade proposal. For your intentions." Voss felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. "Our intentions have always been peaceful exchange." "Perhaps. But our analysis of your communication patterns suggests otherwise. Your Confederation has a history of peaceful exchange with 17 other species. Curiously, 15 now exist as client states with depleted resources, and 2 have disappeared entirely from your records." The bridge fell silent. "Those were classified statistics. We've been monitoring your transmissions," Walker continued. "Your encryption was quaint. We know about the rare minerals you've detected on Earth. We know about your military capabilities. And now, you know about ours." At that moment, Voss's tactical officer gasped. "Admiral, sensors are detecting multiple ships decloaking around us." One by one, 7 more Earth vessels materialized, surrounding the Confederation flagship. Each was unique, some massive and bristling with what could only be weapons, others small and agile, all of them projecting power in a way that made Voss's instincts scream danger. "This isn't a diplomatic mission," Voss realized aloud. Walker adjusted the cuffs of his strange exoskeleton. "On the contrary, Admiral. This is Earth's version of diplomacy. We're here to negotiate terms, but on equal footing. You're threatening us?" "I prefer to think of it as establishing boundaries. Humans don't take well to being colonized or exploited. We've spent these 50 cycles studying your civilization, your technology, your weaknesses. You see, on Earth, the most dangerous predators don't always have the sharpest claws." Walker leaned closer to the screen. "They wear suits and smile while they take everything you have." Captain Reed of Earth's lead vessel, the Barracuda, watched Admiral Voss's reaction with clinical interest. 20 years in special forces and 5 in corporate takeovers had taught him to read alien expressions remarkably well. The Admiral was afraid. "Good. Your ship is surrounded, your weapons systems are locked, and your communications are jammed," Reed informed Walker through the private channel. "The pressure is perfect. Close the deal." On the view screen, Walker nodded imperceptibly and continued his conversation with Voss. Reed turned to his executive officer, Lisa Miller. "Status of the other Confederation ships?" "Standing down, sir," Miller replied. "Our frigates have them contained. No comms getting in or out of the system." "And our infiltration team?" Miller checked her display. "Team Mako has breached their central database, downloading their star charts, fleet positions, and trade agreements now." Reed allowed himself a small smile. Humanity's first real interstellar operation was proceeding exactly as planned. For decades, Earth governments had presented a fragmented, primitive facade to the galaxy, while secretly pooling resources and developing technologies based on the Confederation's own transmissions. While the aliens thought humans were squabbling over petty territorial disputes, Earth's greatest minds had been reverse engineering and improving upon every scrap of tech they could intercept. The result was this fleet. Ships built not for exploration, but confrontation. Not for peaceful exchange, but for sending an unmistakable message. Sir, his communications officer interrupted. We're getting a transmission from Earth Command. President Gaines wants an update. Put her through to my ready room, Reed ordered, rising from his chair. Once alone, Reed accepted the transmission. President Gaines appeared, flanked by the Joint Chiefs and representatives from the major corporate partners who had financed much of the fleet. Captain Reed, Gaines greeted him. Has the Confederation taken our bait? Yes, Madam President. Admiral Voss walked right into our trap. Walker is negotiating with him now. And the terms? Non-negotiable, as planned. The Confederation will recognize Earth as a sovereign power, not a potential colony. They will share their technology openly, not in the controlled drips they've been sending. And they will stay the hell away from our resources. Gaines nodded. And if they refuse? Reed's expression hardened. Then we demonstrate why challenging Earth would be their most significant tactical error in recorded history. Back on the bridge, Walker was making progress. Voss had moved from indignation to bargaining, the universal response to finding oneself outmaneuvered. This is unprecedented, Voss was saying. The Confederation has protocols for first contact and integration, which don't apply to us, Walker interrupted smoothly. You see, Admiral, humans evolved as pursuit predators. Do you know what that means? Our ancient ancestors would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We're physiologically designed to be relentless. That trait has defined our history, our business practices, our diplomacy. We don't stop. Reed watched as Walker casually adjusted his tie, a signal that the Admiral was wobbling. And there's something else you should understand about humans, Walker continued. We're intensely territorial. The minerals you've detected? We've known about them for centuries. They're ours. But we're willing to discuss mutually beneficial arrangements with partners who respect us. On cue, Reed had the Barracuda power up its main weapon system. The energy spike would register clearly on the Confederation sensors. Think carefully about your next move, Admiral, Walker said softly. Earth isn't sending diplomats today. We're sending our predators. And trust me, we're wearing our best suits. The Confederation Council chamber buzzed with panic. 14 species represented, all talking over each other as the holographic display showed Earth's fleet holding Admiral Voss's ships in perfect containment. How did we miss this? Demanded Counselor Thrix, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. How did primitives who barely achieved spaceflight 50 cycles ago suddenly deploy technology that rivals our own? High Chancellor Merrock, the eldest and most powerful member of the Council, raised a gnarled appendage for silence. We underestimated them. A grave error. Counselor Dren, the military strategist, stepped forward. Our intelligence suggests they diverted nearly 30% of their global resources to this project, while maintaining a facade of disunity and technological stagnation. They were actually unified in purpose. Most remarkable. Remarkable, hissed Thrix. They've taken our flagship hostage. The doors to the chamber hissed open, and a lone figure strode in. The room fell silent as Director Kell, head of Confederation Intelligence, approached the central podium. Her species was known for emotional detachment, but even she appeared disturbed. Counselors, she began without preamble. We have severely misjudged the humans. Our standard protocol of limited technology sharing followed by resource acquisition has been compromised. She activated her own holographic display. This is footage from our deep space monitoring station near Earth's solar system. Watch. The display showed 3 Confederation scout ships, small, stealthy vessels used for reconnaissance. Without warning, all 3 ships exploded simultaneously. What happened? Merrock demanded. We don't know exactly, Kell admitted. But our analysis suggests they detected our cloaked vessels and targeted them with weapons we've never encountered before. Weapons they shouldn't have been able to develop. How? Dren asked, professional interest overriding his concern. They've been intercepting and decrypting our communications for decades. Everything we know, they know. Everything we planned, they countered. And they've been innovating in ways we never anticipated. The council chamber erupted again until Merock called for order. There's more, Kell continued. We've detected similar Earth vessels at 6 other key strategic locations throughout Confederation space. They're not just confronting Admiral Voss, they're positioning themselves throughout our territory. Back on the Barracuda, Captain Reed received the update from Earth's Intelligence Division with satisfaction. The Council was reacting exactly as predicted. It's time for Phase 2, he told Walker, through their secure channel. The Council is in emergency session. Make the call. Walker nodded on the screen, then turned back to Admiral Voss. We'd like to speak directly to your council now. Voss's mandibles clicked in surprise. That's not possible. Protocol dictates, Admiral, Walker interrupted, his voice still pleasant, but with an undercurrent of steel. We both know you have a direct link to the council chamber for emergencies. This qualifies. Make the connection, or we'll make it for you. Minutes later, the imposing image of High Chancellor Merock filled the view screen. So, the ancient alien said, studying Walker, you are the human who has caused such disruption. Walker smiled. High Chancellor, I represent a united Earth. For 50 cycles, you've been planning to strip our world of resources while feeding us technological scraps. Today, that approach ends. You dare? I dare because I must, Walker said. Humanity has no interest in conquest or domination. But we will not be conquered or dominated either. We've studied your history carefully. 17 civilizations have fallen into your protective custody. We will not be the 18th. Reed watched as Walker laid out Earth's demands. Recognition as a sovereign power, fair trade agreements, technology exchange, and most importantly, a non-aggression pact with severe penalties for violation. And if we refuse, Merock asked. Walker's smile never wavered. Then Earth will demonstrate why predators in suits are far more dangerous than those with claws and fangs. The negotiations stretched into their 3rd day. Earth's fleet remained in position, a constant reminder of humanity's new place in the galactic order. Inside the Confederation flagship's conference room, James Walker had shed his jacket but maintained his composed demeanor despite the continuous talks. Your proposal for technology exchange is unacceptable, stated Councillor Thrix. You demand access to our advanced propulsion systems, but offer only basic Earth sciences in return. Walker slid a datapad across the table. Perhaps you should review our actual offerings more carefully. Page 3 details our advancements in quantum computing that exceed your current capabilities by approximately 30%. The alien counselors exchanged nervous glances as they reviewed the information. Impossible, whispered one. They're bluffing. Walker pressed a small device on his wrist. Captain Reed, would you please demonstrate package Delta for our guests? Aboard the Barracuda, Reed nodded to his science officer. Begin the demonstration. Outside the viewport, space itself seemed to ripple as one of the smaller Earth vessels vanished completely. Not with the shimmer of Confederation cloaking technology, but with absolute absence. What you're witnessing, Walker explained, is our quantum displacement drive in action. The vessel isn't merely cloaked, it's partially shifted into an adjacent dimensional plane. Your sensors register nothing because, for all practical purposes, nothing is there. The ship reappeared directly behind the Confederation flagship, so close that the aliens visibly flinched. 50 cycles gave us time to innovate beyond what you shared, Walker continued calmly. We didn't just copy your homework, counselors. We rewrote the textbook. Back on Earth, President Gaines reviewed the negotiation progress with her cabinet and the corporate consortium that had helped fund the fleet's development. They're stalling, said Defense Secretary Barnes, hoping to find weaknesses in our position. Marcus Hale, CEO of Quantum Frontiers, the largest of the corporate partners, leaned forward. Then perhaps it's time to reveal our economic leverage as well as our military capabilities. Gaines nodded. Proceed with Operation Market Flood. Across Confederation space, previously dormant human sleeper cells activated. These weren't military operatives, but trade representatives who had spent years integrating into various commercial hubs. Simultaneously, they began offering Earth goods, simple luxuries like coffee, chocolate, and handcrafted items, at prices that undercut Confederation merchants by 40%. Within hours, markets were in chaos. The items sold out instantly, with demands for more. Earth's representatives smiled pleasantly and promised regular shipments, contingent on favorable trade agreements, of course. In the conference room, Walker received confirmation that Operation Market Flood was underway. He suppressed a smile as his communications officer reported the market disruptions. "Is something amusing, Mr. Walker?" Counselor Dren asked suspiciously. "Not at all," Walker replied. "I was just thinking about how humans approach negotiations. You see, while we're talking here, Earth traders are introducing our goods to your markets." The response has been enthusiastic. He showed them the real-time data on his pad. The counselor's expressions ranged from shock to outrage. "This is economic warfare," Thrix exclaimed. Walker shook his head. "This is free market competition, something we excel at. Your merchants have maintained artificial scarcity and price controls across 17 systems. We're simply offering alternatives." He leaned forward, hands clasped on the table. "Humanity isn't just dangerous militarily, counselors. Our economics, our culture, our adaptability, these are all weapons in our arsenal. You can fight us on all these fronts and lose, or you can partner with us and thrive." For the first time since negotiations began, the aliens looked truly defeated. "What exactly do you want?" High Chancellor Merrock asked quietly. Walker smiled. "Exactly what I've been saying all along. Recognition, respect, and reciprocity. Earth won't be your subject, but we could be your most valuable ally." 6 months after the standoff, the Galactic Confederation's central hub buzzed with activity unlike anything seen in centuries. Humans walked confidently among dozens of alien species, their power suits now a recognized symbol across the galaxy. Some aliens found the formal attire intimidating. Others had begun imitating it, creating bizarre hybrid fashions that amused the Earth delegates. In his new office overlooking the hub's central plaza, James Walker prepared for his first official day as Earth's ambassador to the Confederation. The title was somewhat ironic. He had spent weeks explaining to the Council that he wasn't actually a diplomat by training. "That's precisely why you're perfect for this position," President Gaines had told him during their last communication. "You're a businessman who negotiated the deal of the century. Who better to represent Earth's interests?" Walker straightened his tie as his assistant, Tom Grant, entered with the day's schedule. "Your first meeting is with the Trade Guild representatives. In 30 minutes, Grant said. "They're still struggling with the concept of competitive pricing." Walker chuckled. "Keep the coffee flowing during that one. What else?" "Admiral Voss has requested a private meeting this afternoon." No agenda provided. That was unexpected. Since the standoff, Voss had been conspicuously absent from Confederation affairs, rumored to be facing disciplinary action for his failure to recognize the human threat. "Accept the meeting," Walker decided. "And what about our other operations?" Grant lowered his voice. "Captain Reed reports that the surveillance network is fully operational. We now have eyes and ears in every major Confederation installation. The retrieval teams have also secured samples of technology that wasn't included in the official exchange program." Walker nodded. Earth's leadership had been clear. Trust, but verify. The agreements with the Confederation were historic, but humanity wasn't naive enough to believe millennia of exploitation could be erased overnight. Later that day, Admiral Voss entered Walker's office. The alien looked diminished somehow, his once proud posture slightly hunched. "Ambassador Walker," he greeted with a formal bow. "Thank you for seeing me." "Admiral," Walker gestured to a chair designed to accommodate Voss's physiology. "What can I do for you?" Voss settled uncomfortably. "I've been reassigned. The Council feels my expertise would be better utilized in a new role, liaison to Earth's military command." Walker kept his expression neutral, though internally he recognized this for what it was. The Confederation wanted their best military mind to study humanity up close. "That's an interesting development," Walker replied. "I assume Captain Reed will be your primary contact?" "Yes. The Council believes greater understanding between our military forces will prevent misunderstandings, like the one that led to our first meeting?" Voss's mandibles clicked in what Walker had learned was embarrassment. "Precisely. But I've come with another purpose as well. A warning, if you will." Walker raised an eyebrow. "Oh? Not all species within the Confederation welcome humanity's rise. The Council officially embraces your integration, but several powerful factions see Earth as a threat to the established order. We anticipated resistance, Walker acknowledged. Power rarely changes hands without friction. This is beyond friction, Ambassador. There are whispers of sabotage, assassination, even military action disguised as rogue elements. Walker studied the Admiral carefully. Why tell me this? Your loyalty should be to the Confederation. My loyalty is to stability and survival, Voss replied. I've studied your species extensively since our encounter. Humans are dangerous, yes, but not inherently malevolent. The same cannot be said for all members of the Confederation. Walker reached into his desk and disabled the room's official recording devices. But not Earth's own hidden systems. I appreciate the warning, Admiral. Perhaps we can help each other navigate these troubled waters. As Voss left, Walker contacted Captain Reed immediately. Increase surveillance on all Council members, and fast-track the defensive shield upgrades. For Earth, it seems our new friends aren't all as friendly as they appear. Reed's response was immediate. Just as we expected. The predators are showing their teeth. Yes, Walker agreed, looking out at the alien cityscape. But they'll soon learn. Earth's predators bite back. The assassination attempt came 3 weeks later. Walker was returning from a cultural exchange event when his security detail, led by former Special Forces operator Kate Bell, suddenly pushed him to the ground. The distinctive whine of energy weapons filled the air as the team formed a protective circle around him. Sniper, Bell reported calmly, her augmented vision already tracking the assailant. Trexoid, Northeast Tower, 43rd floor. Walker activated his emergency beacon as Bell's team returned fire with weapons that officially didn't exist in Confederation space. Status of the other diplomats? Walker asked, referring to the various Earth representatives who had been at the same event. All secure, Bell confirmed. This was targeted specifically at you, sir. Within minutes, Captain Reed's security forces had secured the area and apprehended the would-be assassin. The Confederation authorities arrived shortly after, visibly shocked that Earth's security had responded so efficiently to a threat in their own territory. High Chancellor Maroc personally visited Walker's quarters that evening, his ancient form seeming to sag under the weight of diplomatic implications. This is unprecedented, Maroc stated. No ambassador has been attacked in the central hub for 700 cycles. Walker, now changed into a fresh suit as if the attempt on his life were merely an inconvenience, sipped his whiskey calmly. Yet your investigation team doesn't seem particularly surprised. What are you implying? Our intelligence suggests the assassin has connections to Counselor Thrix's private security force, the same counselor who has most vocally opposed Earth's new trade agreements. Maroc's outer membrane pulsed in what Walker had learned indicated distress. These are serious accusations. They are facts, Chancellor. Facts we can prove. Walker set down his glass. Earth has been patient. We've followed your protocols, signed your treaties, and integrated into your economy. Yet some within your council still see us as a threat to be eliminated, rather than an ally to be embraced. What do you want? Maroc asked, echoing his question from their first negotiation. Walker's expression hardened. Justice, transparency, and a demonstration that the Confederation values our alliance enough to clean its own house. The next day, Counselor Thrix was publicly removed from the Council and placed under investigation. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth would not be intimidated, and actions against human representatives would have swift consequences. Back on Earth, President Gaines convened an emergency meeting with her Security Council and corporate partners. The assassination attempt was predicted by our models, reported Intelligence Director Foster. However, the swift response from the Confederation was not. They've never sacrificed one of their own council members before, especially not for an outsider species. Marcus Hale, representing the corporate interests, leaned forward. They fear us more than we realized. The question is, do we leverage that fear or alleviate it? President Gaines studied the information before her. Both. We increase our military readiness while simultaneously deepening our cultural and economic ties. The Confederation needs to understand that humanity is too valuable to attack and too dangerous to betray. In the days that followed, Earth implemented what became known as the Velvet Glove Initiative. Cultural exchanges increased tenfold. Human music, art, and cuisine spread throughout Confederation space, creating genuine enthusiasm among ordinary citizens of various species. Simultaneously, Earth corporations began establishing manufacturing centers on key Confederation worlds, creating jobs while subtly placing human interests at the center of alien economies. Beneath this soft power approach, Earth's military continued its rapid expansion. The shipyards of Mars now produced vessels that incorporated both human innovation and Confederation technology, creating hybrid ships that outperformed anything else in the galaxy. On the Barracuda, now permanently stationed at the central hub, as Earth's military headquarters, Captain Reed reviewed the latest security protocols with Admiral Voss, whose warning had proven prescient. "Your people adapt with remarkable speed," Voss observed. "Most species would retreat after such an attack. Instead, you've advanced your position." Reed smiled thinly. "On Earth, predators don't run from threats, Admiral. They eliminate them. And, is that what you're doing? Eliminating threats?" "No," Reed replied. "We're creating a galaxy where threatening Earth becomes unthinkable. Not through fear alone, but through mutual benefit." He activated a holographic display showing the complex web of human influence now spreading through Confederation space. "We're making ourselves indispensable." Voss studied the display with newfound respect. "You wear suits instead of armor, use trade instead of weapons, and conquer without a single world falling. Perhaps the Council was right to fear you after all." "Fear is counterproductive," Reed said, echoing Walker's diplomatic approach. "We prefer respect and partnership." But as Voss left, Reed activated his secure channel to Earth Command. "Phase 3 is complete. The Confederation now understands we can't be eliminated without significant self-harm to their own interests. Recommend proceeding to Phase 4. Technological integration." President Gaines's response was immediate. "Approved. It's time the galaxy learned what humanity's predators can build, not just what we can destroy." 10 years after first contact, the Galactic Confederation barely resembled its former self. Where once there had been rigid hierarchy and stagnation, now there was innovation and growth. At the center of this transformation stood humanity, not as conquerors, but as catalysts. James Walker, now serving his final year as Earth's ambassador before retirement, stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive new headquarters of the reformed Confederation. Below him, representatives from 32 species, including 15 new members attracted by the Confederation's revitalized approach, mingled freely in the grand atrium. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a familiar voice. Walker turned to find Admiral Voss, now High Admiral Voss, the Confederation's military commander, joining him at the viewport. "From confrontation to cooperation," Walker mused. "Not bad for a decade's work." Voss's mandibles clicked in what Walker had come to recognize as amusement. "You humans have a remarkable capacity for understatement. You've completely restructured a galactic power that stood for 10,000 cycles." "We merely pointed out flaws in an outdated system," Walker replied modestly. "The changes were inevitable." "Nothing is inevitable," Voss countered. "The Confederation would have continued exploiting vulnerable species and stifling innovation for millennia if Earth hadn't forced our evolution." Below them, President Gaines was signing the final documents for the Confederation Reform Act, which reorganized the entire political structure into a more equitable council where power was distributed based on contribution rather than seniority. Earth, despite its relatively recent arrival, now held a senior position alongside civilizations that had been spacefaring for thousands of years. Captain Reed, now Admiral Reed, approached them, his uniform reflecting his new role as Earth's military liaison to the Confederation fleet. "The integration of Earth's quantum displacement technology with the Confederation Defense Network is complete," Reed reported. "Combined with our early warning system, we now have the most secure galactic territory in known space. And the most prosperous," added Marcus Hale, joining their small gathering. The businessmen's interspecies trading company had become the largest economic entity in the galaxy, built on the foundation of fair exchange that Earth had demanded from the beginning. "The predators in suits have become builders," Voss observed. Walker smiled. "We were always builders, Admiral. Humanity survived on Earth by adapting our environment to suit our needs. We just applied the same principle on a galactic scale. Later, that evening, as the celebration of the Reformed Confederation continued, Walker found a quiet moment to reflect on the journey. He recalled the tension of that first encounter, the calculated risk of confrontation, and the delicate balance they had maintained between strength and diplomacy. President Gaines joined him on a private balcony overlooking the spectacular nebula beyond the station. "Having second thoughts about retirement?" she asked. Walker shook his head. "No, it's time for the next generation to take the lead. The foundation is built." "And what a foundation it is," Gaines mused. "When we intercepted those first Confederation transmissions and realized their intentions, I never imagined we'd end up here. We were preparing for a long, costly resistance against a technologically superior force. Instead, we reshaped the force itself," Walker concluded. "Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to change the rules when the game is rigged against us." As they spoke, a delegation of young species representatives approached, the newest additions to the Confederation, worlds that would never know the exploitation of the old regime. They looked to Earth not with fear, but with admiration. "Ambassador Walker," their spokesperson said respectfully, "we hoped you might share some insights on how Earth managed its integration so successfully." Walker glanced at President Gaines, who nodded encouragingly. "The secret is simple," Walker told them. "Earth sent no diplomats to the stars, at least, not in the traditional sense. We sent our predators, our survivors, our innovators, people who understood that real power isn't about domination, but about creating systems where everyone thrives." He gestured to the transformed Confederation around them. "We wore suits instead of armor because we came to build boardrooms, not battlefields. The most successful predators don't just hunt, they reshape their entire ecosystem." As the young delegates absorbed his words, Walker felt a profound satisfaction. Earth had indeed sent its predators to the stars, but they had created a galaxy where predation itself was obsolete. Instead of conquest, they had chosen construction. Instead of subjugation, symbiosis. And that, Walker reflected as he looked, out at the stars now open to humanity's boundless potential, was the most human victory of all. The end.